we're casting this movie, The Cut Man, starring Bill Fichtner, directed by Michael Mailer. And I remember
actor.
Buffalo, absolutely right. So
Legendary actor, and I feel like amazing character actor all around.
for sure, right? So I'm working closely with Michael Mailer, and I remember it was this one particular role that he was really, really concerned about. And so much to the point where like he pushed it to shoot on the last day of the shoot. And all during the casting period, I'm submitting people for this role, right? But he doesn't like anybody. So I keep asking him, hey, did you give that folder another look? Oh, no one peeks out. So I end up referring another well-known Buffalonian actor that we know for this, and Michael loves him, right? And this guy, has a really, really extensive resume. He's worked with Al Pacino, he's worked with DiCaprio, he's worked with George Clooney, and so I speak with him about the role. He loves it. He gets the script. He loves it, and he says, "Okay, Peter, work everything out with my agent." Mm-hmm. Dun, dun, dun. The agent comes
Famous
in, right?
words. Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. So I'm talking to the agent, and the agent is drilling me. We need this. We need this. We need this. And I know this production. I know the budget. We've cast other actors, and I'm like, it's not there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm almost like, what happened here? And now I got to go back to the director because I couldn't close this actor and tell him, hey, we lost him. So I know, I'm going to get chewed out, but I got to have a game plan on how am I going to find this character now?
Where are you going to go?
Where I'm going to go.
That's what we do. We always bring a solution to the table. Whenever there's a problem, we have to have an answer to the problem.
You can't just present a problem without a solution, especially to the director. So I tell him we lost the actor, but I said, hey, don't worry. I said, I'm recasting this. New York has it right now. Pittsburgh has it, all these other different places. And I said, you'll have more selections in the next day. So I put it out there, and this other local actor that originally auditioned for the project, for this role.
And he'd already seen his tape, right?
He'd already seen his tape, and I watched this tape. I thought his tape was good. I didn't think it was special. I thought it was good, and it was good enough for the director to see. But, again, I don't think the director was sold on it. Mm-hmm. So this actor calls me, and he says, hey, I saw you relist this. Do you mind if I reread for it? I didn't think it would hurt, so I said, no, absolutely. Go ahead, reread for it. And he said, okay, I'll have it to you tomorrow. So these other submissions are coming in, and his comes in, and I see the thumbnail. And I can already tell it's different than his first one, right? It's more edgy. I could tell he's in character. I'm looking at his eyes, and I immediately watch it. It's completely different. He made different choices, and it was right on the money. So I send that with the other auditions to the director, and he calls me, after he watches them, and he says, who is Stan Klemenko? Yeah. Right? And he is a Buffalo, and I smiled, and I said, yeah. And I said, he's one of us. I've worked with Stan before. I've had a long history of working with him. He's a phenomenal stage actor. Mm-hmm. But more importantly, and here's another part to this story. At the rap party, the director comes up to me, and he says, he tells me about that last scene and how Stan did. And he says, Peter, Stan Klemenko could make a career off of playing a bad guy. That's how good he was, right? And, it's also a testament to a lot of actors that, maybe your first time wasn't that ultimate shot, it didn't blow away, but this guy was open to saying, hey, I can make better decisions. I can do something else with this character. And him rereading ended up getting him this role. So I'm just so proud. And I tell that story all the time to actors because they have to know that, hey, listen, always analyze, and just because you didn't get this one, that doesn't mean you're not going to get the next one.
And little note there too on the accolades from Michael Mailer, to receive that from Michael Mailer,
big time.
He's Hollywood royal. His father, Norman Mailer, he knows good acting. Oh, it's not somebody who's just saying that. You know what I mean? This is somebody who's gone through, has grown up, has seen good acting.
Super accolades, man.
This is an amazing story to kick off Casting Buffalo.
We
and
are
Kyle.
actually here, episode 1.
Yeah.
We're here. We're here. We're here. I'm Kyle Mecca,
I'm Peter Johnson.
And Harry Lipsitz here.
and you are listening to Podcasting Buffalo. We've been wanting to do this for a long time.
Mhm.
We've been talking about this for over a year, it began this idea of like, hey, we just want to share our knowledge. Here we are, and share stories, just like we just talked about, and helping local actors, local filmmakers, learn about the industry from the inside out. Where are they coming from as, talking to casting directors if they're making their own films or if they're auditioning for casting directors? What are we looking at? What are we feeling? And just like that story would stand, like we're looking for the bold choices. We're looking for something different.
Right.
And hopefully making connections too for people too, right?
That's the thing, man. It's like this has never been done, man. Right now, casting directors sharing information, and that makes our job so much better. That's the reason why we do, the Actors Expo, to help make the actors better. And that's also the catalyst of this podcast, right? Because we want to be able to share the information that we've accumulated over the years, because 9 times out of 10, most actors aren't really even having any contact with a casting director. So these are things that they don't know about, right? So that's the point of this. We want to be able to share that information and have people learn and grow in this industry.
Absolutely. And the point of this also is to open it up to those actors and those people that we interact with, the agents and everyone else within the industry, the crew members, because we're going to want to start dialogue with you for future episodes. To sit there and say, what should we touch on? What should we talk about? What should we get into? And this is just the beginning of that. So the idea of telling Buffalo stories so you can identify with where we're coming from, share our experiences, and then let's have some fun with having a podcast, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, we call this part of the episode the call sheet. And our call sheet is basically, where are we? What are we doing right now?
The rundown.
It's our rundown.
Right.
And that's going to be basically, we're starting this podcast. And we've been wanting to do it for a long time here. So we're here. We've arrived day 1 here of recording episode 1. And what we want to do with this podcast as well is, apart from the education, is to have fun with it. So I'm a director.
I'm an actor.
I'm a producer.
And we want to look at all aspects of that as casting directors and having our own little niches in the industry. So besides our call sheet here, we're going to get into set etiquette, which is, let's learn a little bit more about set or a word about set, something, an
tips.
action.
Yeah, maybe helpful tips.
I think it's all of that, right? Because and I think that what's awesome about it is that because we're all approaching it from different perspectives. When I give, set etiquette, I'm going to talk from an actor's perspective, right? You'll talk from a director's standpoint. Harry will do the same as a producer. So you're learning from this podcast on all different sectors.
Yep. So we'll do set etiquette. We'll move on to a segment called Scene Buff.
Yeah.
A little play on Buffalo, Scene Buffalo.
Right.
Right. And that'll be, we'll always rotate who's taking on a scene and how we're going to break that again. And the same exact idea from a director's standpoint, from a producer's standpoint, from an actor's standpoint, and we're going to break down those scenes. And they're going to be famous scenes, or they're going to be scenes that maybe you haven't seen in a long time. You're going to want to revisit that film. Some might have local connections, some might not. And we're going to get into that for a segment. And then after that, we're going to have even more fun. And we're going to do something called Recast, which is, what if a classic film from our past is now in the pipeline to be remade or rebooted? What would we do as casting directors in that setting of
putting us on our toes?
Exactly. Put us on a little on our toes of, sometimes we're prepared, sometimes we're not. How can we bring in our minds of how we would cast for the future? And maybe we'll work in a local actor that might make the cut. That we can see and stuff like that. So that's our call sheet for the day. So Jordan, what are you doing here?
Me? I'm hanging out.
Guy in the room.
I'm taking it on like a sponge. I'm learning from you. Also, I'm helping things run smoothly, doing a little bit of tech, some of the AV, and sharing my thoughts. I'm also the person who's not a casting director. So if there's a question that maybe someone who's not as experienced as you might wonder, I'm the guy to ask it, and I'll be here for you.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you, Jordan. This is Jordan Lima of Lemur Studios.
Yes.
Studios.
You did that
Yes.
on purpose, right?
Right.
Lemur.
It is.
Where did that come from?
So I had a coworker who used to mock me with that, and she used to say, "When are you getting out of here and starting Lemur Studios?" And starting. So I did
What?
it. So I did it.
Just all, like,
Yeah, she
Really?
she was playing around with me like that, and
Hey.
I did it.
she named it.
Yeah,
Wow.
she's just a dear friend of mine, and it was all in jest. Like she was never like being mean about that. She was encouraging me to be my best.
She was
See
a
what
prophet.
comes. See what comes of jokes sometimes.
Right?
She
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
prophet.
It all worked out.
It's kind of how our name for podcast in Buffalo came about too,
Yeah.
because we were like, okay, we want to do a podcast. You know, we have to come up with a name. And names are sometimes the hardest things possible.
Right.
You know, to a company. And when we got into figuring out casting Buffalo, it was like, well, we looked up Buffalo Casting, and that actually is a casting company down in Texas.
Yeah.
And we were like, well, what if we flip it? Like it's more of a symbolizing the city and what we do.
Mhm.
And then we were like, okay, well, we got to come up with a name for the podcast. What are we gonna do? Like, do we want something national? Do we want, something that people will just, it's a pun off of,
Yeah.
film? And then we were like, we're dumb. Just add pod to it.
That's
and it's the pun works itself.
Yeah.
So it's
Sounds
funny
like
how
3
jokes
letters.
turn into
That's
it.
all
Yeah.
we needed.
It's all we need. So coming into it. But thanks, Jordan, for doing this. This
Of
is
course, glad
fantastic.
to.
The setup's fantastic, and we love having you involved.
Yes.
We've known you for many years. We've
Right.
worked with you in all different capacities. Lemur Studios is
I've
fantastic
known
down
Jordan
here.
the longest.
Yeah.
Yes, you have.
Peter
have.
takes
I've
the
known-
cake.
I'm gonna say that.
Peter
That's how
takes
you
the
know
cake.
someone is true to their craft
Mhm.
when decades can go
Oh, yeah.
by and like you're still at it.
Oh, yeah.
That's how you know
Consummate
that's a
And still at the
professional
top
is
of their
what you
game,
say.
too.
I'm never quitting. I'm in.
Consummate professional.
I mean, what am I gonna do though? Be an accountant? No, like that's not good for me. It's
Right.
not good for me. This works.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, other stuff does not work for me.
Well, I think another reason why we all kind of wanted to join together and team up for this is because we all love what we do in this industry,
Mhm.
and
There's a common passion.
the common passion. There's this idea of like this family, this
Yeah.
film family, and we know that, and it grows beyond this room.
Mhm.
And why not be able to just share that experience with people that we know always elevate the game?
Right.
And so let's do an extension of what we love and talk about what we love, right?
Why not?
It's there shouldn't be any dead air. If there is,
Nah.
we'll edit it out.
Everybody-
It'll
We're
be
all
fine.
too passionate for it
No.
though, man.
It'll be great. So so here we are, podcast in Buffalo. Jordan, happy to have you here and happy to have you host us here.
Mhm.
Glad to be
Well,
here.
Um,
I mean, are we going to take a look at some scenes? Are we going to do?
I want to
some
take.
scene-up
Listen, let's
action?
take a look. I got something for you guys today. I got something real nice. We're gonna look at some scenes. It's from one of my all-time like favorite movies. And it's an older one, right? So for the young people around here, they may not catch it. But it's a old school urban film called New Jack City,
Yeah.
right? Urban film also stars Wesley Snipes, Ice-T, Mario Van Peebles, legendary actor and director. And there's a scene in there that I really want to break down also from like an acting standpoint that I thought was just a extremely dynamic scene, right? But we're going to talk about it from some different perspectives.
All right. Well, let's roll it.
All right. For all of your insurance needs, make sure you contact Craig Willoughby over at Willoughby Insurance, 716-885-8100. Make sure you ask for Craig and tell him Casting Buffalo sent you for special rates. My boy Willoughby will when nobody will.
Do you love horror movies? Here on Getting Scarried Away, we sit down to talk about what we love about the genre, shout out fellow horror creators, and spill buckets of useless horror knowledge for your next trivia night. Join me, Ricky Needham, and my co-host, Rhiannon Needham, as we dive headfirst into your favorite horror movies. Subscribe today anywhere you get your podcasts.
You was taking care of
If I
business
was
instead.
what? If I was what? Say it again. What'd you say?
Nothing.
That's what I thought you said. Because that's what I got right now. Nothing.
So stop there.
Yeah, I chose this clip for a couple different reasons, right? Immediately, this is a scene that he comes in. He lost this $1 million a day of business, and he comes in. Everybody's wearing all black, right? Of course, that's not a coincidence. They're talking about the death of this business, but also it's a dark, grim scene. You don't know what's about to happen. It's almost very funeral-esque.
Yep.
Right?
Fire in the background.
Fire in the background, very
Pending
low lit.
doom, something
Absolutely,
like that.
right?
There's a dog panting in the background. There's a
Yeah.
yeah. There's the tension was huge.
Yeah, the
Right.
dog
Tension is
panting is a big thing because that's like like anytime you hear that, it's inducing of sort of panic or something. You feel that.
For sure, for sure. I also look at, one of the things from an acting standpoint about this scene, it's given in interviews and stuff like that, Wesley Snipes had to do this scene a couple times because he came in and he takes the dog off of the leash. And as actors, sometimes it can throw you off if you have a prop that you don't know what to do with, right? Like you don't know it's a chain. It's like it's making all this noise. It's long. You don't, what do you bundle it up? What do you do with this particular chain? And Wesley Snipes, being the brilliant actor that he did, he thought that he would jump rope with the chain to give himself something to do in the scene, right?
He sold that prop.
He sold the prop,
Yeah,
right?
he made it his.
He made it exactly. From an actor's standpoint, that's brilliant, right? To be able to take this thing that I don't know what to do with, I can't drop it, but let me, play with it, right? Jump rope. Not only that, like, as you think about just digging in it deeper about what does jump roping symbolize to us, right? It's like playfulness, kids,
Yeah,
all of those
childhood,
things.
youthfulness.
Absolutely. So him doing that with that chain and then literally stabbing a guy in the next, 2-3 seconds, it talks about the duality of this character, right? Split second personality. Hey, I can be what happened, being playful, and then he can change into a sinister, kingpin. That talks about the duality of that character. And I thought it was just a brilliant choice as an actor.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it as a directing standpoint too, like the whole entire thing is just masterfully shot and just put together. Because if Wesley Snipes shows how much he understands what the scene is supposed to do, because it is a payback, immediate callback to what in a pay. It's a setup and payoff where you come walking with the dog. Okay, it's a big dog.
Yeah.
It's a dog that has menace to it, and it is associated with menace. And
It'd be different if he came in with a Shih Tzu.
exactly, but that's a choice, right?
For
This
sure,
is a choice,
for
right?
sure.
And the idea is to create this character that is kind of a little bit unhinged. You just don't know where they can go with.
Right.
So he plays with the chain, and again, you have the panting in the background, so it's a little production design of being like, okay, tension building, the playfulness with the chain of being like, where's he going with it?
Yeah.
And the camera movement of tracking along this table and never showing Wesley Snipes' face.
Right.
And where he's in the background, he's looming. It's a little bit lower angle.
Shows his
He's
power.
behind them, showing that power of like, we're watching their reaction to how unhinged this type of character is. And then when we finally get back down to the table to the him to have this conversation, we're in Dutch angles.
Yeah.
Something's a little bit off. Something's a little weird.
Yeah, the canted angle.
Right.
And then power. He has the power in the whole entire scene.
Playing with
And then-
those levels too.
And he uses the chain for the jump rope, but then he uses the chain to choke the dude too.
Exactly. And you go from this loose chain
Right.
of like, we don't know where it's going to go, to tension right away.
Right.
Yeah.
And making that whole entire setup and payoff work.
I
Masterful
think
scene.
as a producer, what I noticed was just sort of the set and the grandioseness of it, which we've kind of already touched on. I think about how much, resources probably went in to make that set look the way it went, And then on top of that, just bringing all those actors together in one scene, not only is that a, logistical and a feat in and out of itself from a production standpoint, but it as Peter can speak to, I think there's a different vibe in a set when you have that many
The entire
actors.
the energy is there, man. It's there.
So
for
it's
sure.
kind of it's a remarkable thing, I think, in a lot of ways when you do bring that many actors together in one scene, because a lot of times production doesn't want to go to those lengths.
Yeah.
You know?
And then, you know, as an actor, you're able to play off
The other
everyone's
scenes,
energy
yeah,
and
yeah.
feeling, you know, now all your characters get to play in the room together, and then
Right.
you give the power to an actor like Wesley Snipes. You know, it's everyone's game's elevated.
That's it.
In that. And I think it's an amazing lesson too of like just as an actor, like you brought up the idea of using a prop, but like the prop also like
It's like a character.
is a character.
The prop is
It
the
served
character,
the
right,
story,
for sure,
right?
for
You know,
sure.
and it's
That's
incredible
brilliant.
choice.
That's brilliant.
Incredible choice.
Absolutely.
And we talked about bold choices and what you do, and like, you know, that might be something even within an audition. If you bring something that elevates you and what
I
you're
love
thinking
to
of
see
the
that.
scene.
Right.
Oh yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
It's funny, even as we transition and we talk about it, like what grinds my gears in auditions
Yeah.
is when people like they act like they're on the phone and they do this.
Yeah, pantomime
Like,
the phone.
What?
You
just
got
get
the
a phone.
The phone's in your pocket.
just
just
the
pull
phone's
it
in
out your pocket.
Just get it. Why are we doing this still? Right.
Yeah.
So like, you know, use of props and how you can use them. You can use that stuff to your advantage in auditions. Yeah.
Yeah. And especially if you could find this fine line of not distracting us to
Right.
that, but using it in a powerful way to
Mhm.
just convey character.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic. It makes us stop and look,
For sure.
Mhm.
you know.
So here you're just talking about having all those members on set.
Mhm.
And it's always got to be a challenge having that many people, and you really got to mind your P's and Q's and have good set etiquette.
Hey.
So-
Sure do. Yeah, sure do.
Let's get right into it.
Yeah, and so with that, I will talk about today. We're going to talk about crossing the lens or crossing the frame. It's sometimes referred to in different ways. A lot of times, if you're on set, you'll hear crew members call and say crossing, or you know, some type of call like that. And the reason for that is, you know, it's about being aware, right? If you're an actor on set, you have to bring an awareness with you. It's part of being an actor, and that it's you know, a whole list of reasons why, from safety to, you know, not impeding the filming and what the production has to get that day. I mean, how many other things can we add to this list? Like,
Oh, yeah,
there's
I
a
mean-
lot of reasons why you have to be aware. But crossing the lens, you know, another thing that I think about, and it's a little bit different, but it's still about having an awareness. I think about famously Christian Bale on the set of The Terminator,
Oh, yeah.
freaked out on the DP for making some adjustments and crossing in his way as an actor.
Right.
So that's
His
sort
eye
of the
lines, yeah.
opposite scenario maybe in some ways, but you know, still it's about being aware and
It's respecting everybody's
being respectful too.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
It's respecting everybody's job on set and what they have within their limits of set. So just like crossing an eye line, crossing the lens, making sure that you're aware on set, and that we got in a little bit in our episode 0 where we talked about, you know, how when you're on a set, even if you're in the smallest role as a background actor, a regular actor, like you should be a sponge and taking it all in, learning what a gaffer does, learning what
Absolutely.
a key grip does, learning what a best boy electric is, or a best boy grip is, or
Learning
lighting
those jobs,
technician,
yeah,
or an
yeah.
assistant camera. I mean, this is all stuff that, like, if you aren't within the film industry, we'll eventually get into, you know, what they do and what they are if you don't know. You know, being aware of how the ebb and flow of a set is.
You know, the main thing is, as an actor, anytime you step on set, you have to know where the camera is.
Yes.
Right? Like that's you know, for what actors do, it's very important that you know angles, you know how to turn away from the camera. Do you know your eye lines? You have to know where they are. So even if you aren't in the scene,
Mhm.
you should still know where the camera is, right?
You
Like every
also-
person should be cognizant of
Yeah.
that on set.
And you also have to know where they want you to be
Right.
at all
Yes.
times.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Whether that's in frame and actually in the active shot, or just in the wings waiting, you know, whatever it is, you have
Or
to
it's
be
a reverse
ready.
shot and you're only over your shoulder, and, you know, it's still making sure that you're bringing 100% to that scene. And,
Right.
you know, it's And well, what reminds me of this is when we got into actually, it was the Panic.
Oh man.
Yeah, and so we always bring up this
Yeah.
idea of like whenever people ask, how do I get started as an actor? How do I get in? And I'm not the only one, but always bring up the idea of what a stand-in is.
Yeah.
And a stand-in is basically when you are lighting a scene, you have someone who's able to step in to the lighting, and they're able to light around you through the gaffer or shape the light through the key grip. And you're also
mimic the blocking.
Exactly.
Maybe.
You're mimicking the blocking, or you're working the blocking first before you even have, actors
camera
come
foot,
in,
yeah,
and
right.
and you help them with angles and where light's going to go. And as a stand-in, you need to be able to match height, skin complexion,
tone, yeah.
skin
Sometimes
tone,
hair.
hair.
I had a dear friend. He's since passed. He was a stand-in for Steve Carell on a shoot in Pittsburgh maybe 10 years ago. And he was really excited about it. And then they were like, "Oh, we're going to cut your hair." And he was like, "What?"
What?
And they had to do
Yeah.
some like real aggressive
Yeah.
side cuts to his hair. And he just was like, "All right, I guess." But he did not know he signed up for that day. So be aware.
No,
Right.
it is. I mean, but it's that commitment because you are basically, a doppelganger of that actor as
Right.
much as you can be. You're even sometimes memory lines and knowing that pacing of the scene to match the blocking and where the camera movement is. And
you might get an actor asking you, "Hey, what do I do there?" Like that happens.
Oh, for sure.
It
for
is.
sure.
And you got to know the answer.
We had this stand-in that we hired when we cast the film The Panic, and I remember as we were going through the casting, I sent him some options, and this was the DP at the time. I sent the DP the options, and he kind of says to me, he's like, "Hey, we asked questions about the guys who had experience." Anyway, we gave the job to a guy, Jeff, right? And Jeff was awesome, right? Because after the film had shot, the DP called me to give this guy a personal recommendation. And he said that, Peter, he was the best stand-in I had ever worked in the last 40 years of this business.
So meticulous that he even kept a book, day-to-day book of every camera movement,
lighting setups,
sure.
where the light's coming in from the window, knows where it needs to go.
So like just so detailed that the DP, the director, they all wanted copies of it. Like,
oh yeah,
he sent us copies of it.
He made a portfolio book he can sell and put out there because it's just
Sure.
incredible of like the awareness, right?
Yeah.
The awareness of being on set and how important your job is, because now it's the DP might have forgot where the setup was in the blocking, and it actually went to him and was like, "Hey, look it."
Yeah, he had it. And that was the thing. That DP called me personally at 9 p.m. at night to tell me, "Peter, hire this guy again."
Yeah.
That's how you go about getting work in the industry.
Oh yeah, you impressed.
So he's a master stand-in, but our next segment is about recasting.
Ooh.
So he's always getting the job. But
Yeah, that's it.
Not so much everyone else.
yes. Who are your
All
picks
right.
for another time?
Yeah, so our other segment here is that we're getting into recast. So thinking of a film or reboot, so something from the past, a classic that we are bringing into the modern era, and what are we recasting? So I want to have a little fun with this, so you guys kind of get to see how we are on our feet and putting stuff together. And for our inaugural episode, I wanted to get something that we all know and are very dear to us, and we want to recast Buffalo 66.
Hey. Hey, you see
Yeah.
Jordan's
Why?
face? He's
Why?
like,
Why not do that?
"Whoa."
No, we don't have to.
Well, one of the big reasons too is also like the Buffalo Bills are in the playoffs.
Hey.
and
It's a
Sure.
timely.
it's a timely thing to bring up, right?
This is it.
So Buffalo 66 was made in 1998. It was actually shot in Buffalo, New York. It featured a lot of classic locations in Buffalo, and it was directed, written, and stars Vincent Gallo. Buffalo 66, after being released from prison, Billy is set to visit his parents with his wife, whom he does not actually have. This provokes Billy to act out as he kidnaps a girl and forces her to act as his wife for The Visit.
Christina Ricci.
Yeah.
Legendary.
And in the prime of her career, back in 1998, had all these hits already going into it. So with that, we have a few roles that we have to recast, right? So the big one being Billy Brown, which is Vincent Gallo. That's number 1. Number 2 being Layla, which is Christina Ricci back in the day. 3 was Jimmy Brown, which was Ben Gazzara. 4 is actually one of my favorite roles in that movie, Angelica Houston as Jan Brown, the mom.
Okay.
And then lastly, our 5th one is Mickey Rourke's character of the bookie. Yeah, so kind of see what we were going to come up with.
I'm really excited to hear this because I don't even know how you could. It's kind of legendary.
We're trying to do like
yeah.
look at me and Harry are over
Yeah.
here like trying to get busy on our phones.
What are you gonna do, guys?
Well, for me,
You know
like
what I mean?
the perspective that I thought about it was basically like if we moved it to today's era. So what if it was like, like how would we look at actors nowadays that would come back and be able to give the same energy and feel to that? So I'll kick it off. I'll kick it off and kind of
Harry
give
likes
you what
to
I
take
think.
mine, man. I gotta go second.
Yeah, I was gonna
He likes to take everybody.
So for me, for Billy Brown, Vincent Gallo's character, I'm actually think of Jeremy Allen White. Jeremy Allen White right now in The Bear. Fantastic actor. He is embodies this like nervousness, but also like has these eyes of that. For me, when it comes to acting a lot too, I like to look at their eyes. You see a little bit more of their soul, their personality. And he definitely has this of like, he's just been through it all. And also he has this grittiness that does feel like a Buffalonian to him. And he's already played someone from Chicago in The Bear. So the accent isn't too far off that you can pull off over to Buffalo. But I love Jeremy Allen White. He's, I followed him since Shameless. And his growth as an actor has been incredible. And I think he definitely could encompass Billy Brown in this. So that's my pick.
Cool. I think for the role of Billy, I'm gonna go. I'm also just a big stickler on like physicality. Trying to match, that Vincent Gallo. So I think for me, when I see him, the closest that I can get to it right now, I would probably go with Russell Brand.
Oh,
right. Kind of same body type, same personality style. I think he's, Russell, he's crazy, man. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. He's crazy. He could be a Buffalonian. So.
Well, especially like Vincent Gallo, like his personality in real life too.
Yeah.
I feel like you're definitely looking at like, who is that now?
Right. No, for sure.
Right?
For sure.
That's very interesting. I like that.
That's what I'd go with.
Going for.
Yeah.
Harry, what do you got?
So I would pick Adam Driver.
Okay, that's a good one too.
Yeah, I think he's got a bit of an edge to him, but also sort of like
little unhingedness.
Yeah, I think he can get like I think of that movie he was in with who was it? Lawrence.
With Jennifer Lawrence.
Lawrence, and they're it was very physical and fighting. There's a lot
stuck in a room.
He got so like just his intensity with that and his emotional intensity was so strong in that you could really feel it. It was very like visceral. So I feel like he kind of gives you that uneasiness.
No, definitely. I think that's great. That's great casting. Looking at it that angle too.
For sure.
Jordan, you want to give it a shot?
Oh, geez. No.
I
I was actually thinking, I was like, do I judge yours and do I pick a winner? But I don't know.
What I think we do is at the end of this, we're going to put it out there on the social media.
Okay.
We're going to list and see who they like, right? Let's say, who's your cast? And then, we'll go from there. Who won this round, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Very good. So, okay. So, Harry, do you want to move to the next character?
Yeah.
Go for it.
So, are we going to do
whoever you want to go?
For Angelica Houston, I had 2, and it could be played differently. One of these people is not alive anymore, so that's why I have a second one. But I would say, and both have Buffalo roots. But I think of Christine Baranski, and I think of her because I know she's a diehard Bills fan, and I believe it. I feel like she's a great actress, and I could see her just putting her heart into that. And then the other one is the actress who was born in Buffalo. She played Tony Soprano's mother, and that's Nancy Marchand. She's actually Buffalonian. A lot of people don't know that. I think she, obviously, there's a bit of a difference in age, you know. I think if she were younger, still alive, and playing that role, I think she gives off a real Buffalo. Like,
Oh yeah,
she's
Oh, yeah.
like,
you need someone who understands that pain and that
she don't
family
play.
oriented.
She's Buffalo.
You're not going to give up a Sunday.
Hardcore winters,
Right.
like she's weathered. She's Buffalo weathered. You know.
Oh, for sure. Peter, you got one?
Oh man, this was tough.
So if you're not ready, I'll
No,
okay.
I'm not
Think
ready.
about it for a second. All right.
No.
So so Jan Brown, Angelica Houston character is one of my favorite
Okay.
in this thing. And for me, it's about intensity. It's also matching Vincent Gallo's intensity and the idea of like that family orient and being like crazy enough to sit there and say that
I got one.
you disowned your son because that was like the one day that she missed the Bills game. You know, you need to have that intensity. So for me, it's Toni Collette.
Oh yeah.
Toni
Okay.
Collette, I think, embodies that.
So good.
I
She's
think
so good.
putting-
anytime she's the matriarch or mom role, she's just so good.
fantastic. And I think putting her in a room with Jeremy Allen White is
Oh,
just
yeah.
fireworks.
Yeah, I could see
that you
them
can
hitting
see.
it off.
And
Definitely.
I think she could be a Buffalonian.
Yeah,
So,
she's
for sure.
got that edge too, that Buffalo edge.
You ever have somebody in your head and you don't know their name?
you
Like,
Oh yeah.
oh
know
man.
a movie? We can do it.
Dude,
I'm good.
That's the thing. I know. I'm like, it's. I can see her face right now, and I cannot.
Any movie,
Yeah.
any other actor.
I know, man. It's just crazy. I see her face right now, and it's been in a lot
gonna
of.
haunt you.
It is. It is.
gonna haunt
It is.
you,
I'm not
dude.
gonna sleep tonight.
Hilarious. So let's go into Layla.
Okay. So for that role, I would take Robbie. Yeah, Margot. Is that it?
Yeah.
Margot Robbie. Beautiful, right? But also just I feel like she gives that same mysterious type of vibe. You know, I think that she fits that type of character for me.
Yeah, exactly. And especially like Billy's attraction to her right away and just being
Right
like,
away.
who is this?
Right.
You know, and can match him
She's got
mentally
the
and
mystique.
She's captivating. Absolutely, she
We're
has.
talking
that-
about the Christina Ricci character.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I just saw Honora, and
I
I don't know if she pulls off Buffalo,
fantastic.
but I think she pulls off that.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know who's that. What's her name?
Let's bring it up.
I'm really impressed
Mickey-
with how many actors and actresses' names you all know.
Yeah,
My
it's-
head's
yeah.
spinning over here. I'm
Mikey
like, wow.
Madison.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
she was absolutely fantastic in that
Mhm.
movie. And no, that's a great pick actually.
Yeah.
By Jordan there.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got one on the board.
One in, yes.
There. Harry, do you got one?
Yep, I would go with Emma Stone for that. I love her performance in Poor Things or Poor Little
Yep,
Things?
Poor Things, you got
Poor
it.
Things, yeah. And it's I think she has a mystique, a beauty to her that is, you know, captivating, and I could see her and Adam Driver also potentially having some chemistry.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. My pick is very much going to get this film funded, and that's going to go with someone who's been around lately and in a lot of roles, which is Jenna Ortega. And that's
Yeah.
my choice. I feel like same exact thing.
She's almost a linear translation of
Christina
that
Ricci.
era. Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
And again, someone with powerful eyes, has that mystique about them, has that attractiveness that I can definitely see like Jeremy playing off of her, and she has this, you know, this awesome little attitude and personality, and can play that just like, I don't want to be with you, but I kind of want to be with you, but I don't.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that cat and mouse type games. And I think it gets this film funded to be like, hey, Jenna Ortega, who's right now a movie star, you know, is going off in that role. So that's my pick. We have two left.
we got?
One is the dad, Jimmy. My choice is actually going another Homer here and doing Bill Fichtner in that role.
Nice.
I think Bill can just embody that.
Nice.
He's got, you know, that curiosity to him, but also fits right in that family. And Jeremy and Bill kind of look like father and son a little bit. Get that hair
Yeah,
going and all
I can
that.
see
Get the
that.
nose.
I got you.
That,
I got you.
that nose. And also I feel
Stifler's
like,
mom. Stifler's mom. That's who I'm talking about. What's her name? What's her name? What's
Jennifer
her-
Jennifer Coolidge.
Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah, she's got that voice.
That's who I've been envisioning, and I could not.
It's a really good pick.
Stifler's mom.
You know why that's a good pick is because, like Angelica Houston, she's got such a big personality.
Oh,
That's it, man. That's it. I think she would be perfect. Stifler's mom.
She also does have Buffalo vibes.
She has crazy Buffalo vibes.
She
man.
definitely
You're
does.
sitting in that chair watching
For
the Bills
sure.
game, getting
For
upset.
sure.
Oh yeah,
Big
that's
time.
a good one.
Big time.
Good job, Pete. That's a good job, Pete.
All right, so you said Bill Fichtner. Okay.
So for the dad, yeah.
You want to go?
Sure. Mine's kind of a crazy ass one, but I'm going with Steve Buscemi.
Oh.
And the reason I'm going with Steve
Yeah.
because I think of the dad, and I think the dad in that movie is kind of like lost in his own like world. He's kind of like wants to be there too because I think he's everybody else makes him nuts, including his wife. So he's like, I don't know, something about Steve Buscemi. I just feel like he could embody that, you know. And he also has that Buffalo grit. You know, I think he has that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For
that,
sure.
Like,
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Buffalo. Again, I'm going William Sadler.
Okay, yeah,
William Sadler for the dad.
it's a good one.
I think that Bill Sadler has the most amazing face, right? That, like, you know, for a older character, his expressions. Yeah, Bill Sadler.
Love it. No, I think they all. You can definitely see all of them for sure. Okay, last one. Here we go. This is the bookie.
Yeah.
This is Mickey Rourke.
Okay.
A little bit more of an unhinged character, again, and also he comes in, has a great monologue, definitely steals a scene, his ability to do that, see that he's a threat.
I get it.
I like this because who's a modern day Mickey Rourke? Like Mickey Rourke is just an animal. Like Mickey Rourke's just like a weird machine creeper. Like I don't know.
It's definitely.
I'm gonna say you know who, and I just when we're talking about that type of character, fast talking, you know, just that type of. I'm gonna go with Jeremy Piven.
Okay.
I love
All right.
Jeremy
Little
Piven. for
schemer
that.
over there.
A little
Yeah,
schemer,
yeah.
a little bit of Ari Gold, fast talking. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
Jeremy Piven. That's the type of character he has. You know, he can embody. That's who I'm going with.
Love it. That's a good one. Harry, you got one?
I do. I'm going to go with Willem Dafoe on this one.
Ooh.
The Bokies are missing the tough guy factor of Mickey Rourke though, because Mickey Rourke's the bad dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well,
But
I
you-
feel like with Willem Dafoe,
Willem Dafoe's just a bad
he
dude,
may
too.
not
Just-
be. He may not be
Yeah.
as physically intimidating,
don't know what
but I
he's
feel
gonna
like
do
if
to
you
you.
put him in a leather coat and you saw him in a dark alley,
No, you don't know what he's gonna do.
I'd be scared.
Yeah. I like it.
All right. My pick. I'm going Homer again, and I'm going to go full circle here. I think you throw in a local actor, we get the ability to do it, and I'm putting Stan Clemenko in it.
Stan Clemenko, the career
I'm
bad
doing
guy.
the career back. I'm
He's-
telling
yeah,
you.
the bookie for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
He's got those
Stan
vibes.
could be a bookie.
He could be fantastic.
Yeah.
He gives that
Yeah,
little
yeah.
bit more of intimidation
Oh,
off
yeah.
of the factor.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
know where he's going to go with it, so I'm going with Stan.
I like that.
And I don't know if it's because he looks good in a hat, but as a bookie, I pick,
Oh, no, I
picture
think
you
I've
wearing a
seen
hat.
him. And I've tried to play some numbers with him. Hey, come here. I need $10 on 34. That's it.
Amazing. So that's our recast here, and that is episode 1 of Podcasting Buffalo.
People at home, what did you think of the recast? What are your picks? Leave in the comments.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll put a posting out there to see who wins this round.
Absolutely.
Jordan has a great little choice there too with
Oh, yeah.
Mikey there too. So I don't
mean,
know.
Honor was good.
It
It's
was
a good film.
fantastic film. But yeah, so this is episode 1 of Podcasting Buffalo. It was fantastic being here with you. We've been doing this a long time coming, and we're going to keep pumping these out and having fun with this. Any ideas for future breakdown scenes for us? Make sure that you are commenting where we're going to go with recast, maybe even ideas of what we should recast in the future, right?
Yeah.
What's some of your favorite films? Maybe we'll do like Jurassic Park, Back to the Future. Maybe we even go older and get some Westerns in there.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we really get into classics. So we want that feedback from you as well.
Definitely.
Hey, we are going to come to you wherever you listen to your podcasts. I'm Kyle Mecca.
I'm Peter Johnson.
I'm Harry Lipsitz.
And this is Podcasting Buffalo. That's a wrap.
I love you.